says 10 o'clock, so I will call the meeting to order. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
So our agenda is out there in front of everybody. Got a chance to look at it. Do we have any changes or updates to the agenda?
Alan, can we add approval for image trend cost?
Okay. Just looking for a spot to do that. Is that an old business item? Is that something we've talked about?
It is, yes.
Okay. Why don't we just put it under number 10? Okay, anything else? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'd make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. We're on to the minutes. Anybody have any corrections or anything to the minutes?
Is Dennis Weber trying to get attention there? Or?
Yes,
Okay,
if you can hear me, I'm having audio problems apparently. The minutes list me as being present and absent at the last meeting. So please strike my last name, my name from being absent.
I think that's something we can accomplish.
50-50 chance.
Okay, any other corrections to the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, we have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, just a reminder, let you guys start pondering this, that our first meeting in January will be electing our chair and vice chair positions. And my intent is to not be the chair next year, just so everybody knows. Anyway, so be thinking about who you might want to fill that role, and I would be open to anything else, but I think I want to back away from the chair position. Okay, let's move on to payables. Any questions for Rachel on that? For Rachel or Norm?
Alan, this is Kurt. I do have one question.
Okay,
I noticed a payable in there to Patriot Rail for $2,000. I'm kind of wondering if I could get a little more detail on that one, please.
I can answer that if you'd like.
okay,
What we have is that we have to get an easement or a license behind the new facility so that we can have secondary power, cable, telephone, etc., so that if we fail it. And what you have to do is you have to apply to Patriot Rail to get that license. And to do that, that costs $2,000. So that's what I moved forward with, was to try and get that license.
There was no possibility to move that location to the side or anywhere else? I guess I'm asking because there's a movement underway for Patriot to perhaps rid themselves of this rail, and perhaps at no cost to the city, the county, other entities. I'm sure Commissioner Weber's aware of this as well. And, I kind of hate to pay $2,000 for nothing if we could avoid that.
Right, and I guess the answer, I mean, we have primary, but it seems to me for a 911 center, you'd want backup. You have to go to another area and there is power on the other side of that rail. But so I move forward, but you may be raising good issues.
Do we have any kind of time frame for that, Kurt, or?
We are kind of at the mercy right now. We've submitted the application. I have a point of contact. We sent them that paycheck, that pay about maybe a week, 2 weeks ago, and I plan to follow up later this week, which I'm glad to give a status on. Having dealt with railroads before, you kind of go at their speed if you want something from them.
Sure, I understand that. Well, I know Norm's on the line. Norm, do you have any information on that?
I don't, as far as timing, no.
No, I mean location.
It really, our only option to have a diverse path for communications was to go across the railroad corridor. So because it's on the opposite side of the rail tracks from the facility, that was our only option to bring in and keep it a redundant system. And it just seemed like we would want to have that as soon as possible so that it's available when we start up next year. I don't know what your timing is. I've heard that Patriot might be giving up their right of way either to the city or the county or whatever for quite a while. I just don't know how quickly that would occur. So it just seemed to not be an unreasonable thing to try to close that loop without waiting for an extended time period.
And you believe looking for another location, either on site or around the facility somewhere, would prolong this ability to put this in place? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is there are two utility corridors that we can access. One is along Ocean Beach Highway, which is where our primary feed is coming from for all of our communications. We want to have a redundant system. So the other option is along the rail corridor. There is utilities within the rail corridor. So we are looking at connecting to the north side of the rail corridor in addition to Ocean Beach Highway,
All right.
so that we have two routes for our fiber, our phones, our cable TV, all those types of utilities.
Okay, all right. That better explains it. So
So that if there is a failure in the communication system, the network, we have a much better chance of maintaining communications because we have that redundancy built into the design.
okay. Thank you.
So Frank, did I hear you say the check's already been mailed?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so Kurt, let me suggest, let me contact Bill Fashing and say, give us the money back. He's the one that's negotiating with Patriot Rail. I mean, and it's like this week because they're having a meeting. So we can get the money back. I mean, ultimately, it'll become the city of Longview's property if the negotiations go through as planned. So,
And maybe you're better off going through Patriot because Longview might charge much more. Who knows? So I'm good with it. I'm good with it now.
all right.
Thank you.
Okay. And any other questions on this? Okay.
Alan, are there, I assume there's no public on the call and that's why you skipped the public comment?
Well, the reason I skipped it is because looking through my bifocals, I'll blame them. I I missed it.
Well,
So-
maybe, before you go back, I'd make a motion to approve the claims as presented.
Okay.
Second, Hamilton.
Okay.
And that's final.
Yeah. I'm not that sure if that was a vote in favor or not, but anyway, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. And let's back up one then to public comment. Do we have any public on? I didn't notice any, but
And there's nothing in the live chat stream.
okay.
There is somebody just logged in as iPad only. I don't know, is that Chet McKinster or?
I believe so.
Yes, that's Chet McKinster.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, this will probably be my last meeting. And I really appreciated how you guys have all treated me. I learned a heck of a lot. And it's been a really enjoyable ride with you guys. So thank you for being so kind.
Thanks,
Chet,
Chet.
Thanks, Chet.
we appreciate your participation as well. So thank you, and we wish you well. And you're certainly invited after the first of the year. You can be our public if you want to attend.
Well, thank you.
That must be a no.
There's probably other more exciting things you want to do.
He might. You never know.
We'll
Okay,
miss you, Chad.
we will miss you, Chad. So I'm guessing, Kurt, you'll probably be appointing the board, or your council will probably be appointing after the first of the year as well.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying that. Yeah, absolutely. Councilman. a new-
Yeah, yeah. I know I'd misspoke there. Okay, moving on. Approval of resolution 2021-001, the 2022 budget. So everybody had a chance to look through that again. We've gone through it in some detail in past meetings.
Alan, I just have a couple comments on the budget, just so
Okay.
that the board's aware before they pass it. We added a line item for radio consoles. It's a $200,000 line item. It's in the equipment reserve expenditures section where it says Motorola radio console retainage. We made that $200,000 line item right there to get some radio consoles. And the only other changes that were made since this last time you guys saw it was just updated numbers because we're almost done with the year, so I could get some actual numbers in there for projections. But other than that, it's what you guys saw before.
And Alan, can I just add one more thing? Later in this agenda, it talks about the NOAANET ILA.
Right.
And I'm continuing to work with them and my consulting team. Originally, the numbers they provided for the construction piece were around 14,000, and the paperwork that I received yesterday, that installation fee is 75,000 now. I believe that we adjusted in the budget to the $14,000 number. We will continue to work with them, but we may have to do an amendment to that section once we make a decision on this,
Well, okay.
or you could do it now.
Jana,
Well,
for clarification, is that the IGN/ISP?
Nope, it
It's
is
a different
the,
line. Okay.
yeah, it's the, it should be like under the fiber connection, maybe?
I think they put it under telephone.
So is that actually a construction cost then?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And do we know that that's going to be a hard number yet? Or are you still negotiating, you said?
Yeah, we are still in negotiations with them. We have not finalized this contract. I sent it out to Frank and Lisa to review. I have their comments back. And then my technical folks and I and Day Wireless are working with Noanet on a better definition of this scope that they've quoted.
Okay, so it sounds like we'd probably be better to wait until we know what the number really will be. If there's any changes to that then.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, with all that information, board, what's your druthers here?
Yeah, and I would make a motion to approve the budget as it's been presented and extend my thanks and appreciation to the committee for their hard work in putting the numbers together and presenting this to us.
Okay.
I'll make a second to that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Any committee reports? I think both committees said they weren't going to meet until after the first of the year again. Law TAF and Fire TAF. So I'm not hearing any reports.
I know Troy Brightbill's on. I don't know if you had anything from the LTAC.
I don't know if you gave the update on our last meeting, Brad, but what we're working on right now is our Spillman CAD training. The only agencies I've got left, I reached out to Ralph and Charlie to get their guys scheduled, and we should have that done in the next few days.
And I know the fire folks are in the training process as well, but I don't think they've met. So, okay, let's move on to the director's report. Staffing update.
Yeah, I'm not sure we have any update on staffing other than, as we mentioned last time, Dawn will be starting, our new IT person will be starting this coming Monday, the 13th. Is there anything else?
Okay.
And climate and culture.
Bring up the brownies.
I don't have anything to update on that. So I'm going to move on to unless somebody has a question about climate and culture. Facility update. I just wanted to let you know they are putting in the curtain walls today. This is a picture from yesterday. That's a portion of the curtain wall. It'll get stood up. This is in the workout room. To the extreme right, you can see a large rectangle. That's actually a doorway. So when they stand that up, that will be the doorway going into the workout room from the outside. The rest of those will be windows. So they've started enclosing the 4 large openings. So the opening in front where the workout room and the kitchen are is a curtain wall. The large opening into the dispatch floor is a second curtain wall. And then there's 2 more, one at either end of the building, the extreme east and west end of the hallway, basically. So that's what they're working on right now. Other than that, they have all of the storefronts already installed in the building. They also have about 40 sheets of OSB board. So while they are waiting for the windows to come in, which are about a 15-week lead time, they will be installing OSB board at all of these openings on the lower portion of the building. Only the upper windows in the main hallway will be just covered with plastic. In that way, they'll have the entire building closed off so that they can put heat in and they can start sheetrocking and doing the work they need to, that they need to have the building enclosed for. And if we can go to the next photo. So this just shows you some of the storefronts. So you've got two storefronts at the lower portion, the face of the building. And then you can see up above those higher windows that will be covered with clear plastic until the windows come in. Those are all framed out with the storefronts. You can see that on the right, the doorway, so they will install the permanent exterior doors in there. So once they have the windows closed off and the doors all installed, we will have a building that they can then start finishing up on the inside. And then they'll also be looking at installing the siding here in the coming weeks. It's a little hard to see, but right at the edge of the roof line, you see sort of a gray board. That's actually part of the venting system for the siding. It's all an integrated system. The siding actually stands about 5 inches off of that sheeted wall that you see there. That includes about an inch for insulation and then another inch for an air gap. And it's that air gap that they need to vent so that you don't have a buildup of heat or humidity within that space. So, this is the main entrance. So that's the Lowe's driveway on the right side of the photograph. What you're seeing there are forms for the curb and gutter. In the foreground is the northern curb and gutter, and then in the background you see them actually placing the concrete for the curb and gutter for the right turn lane. That was all placed yesterday. They covered it up to protect it from rain last night, and they should be stripping the forms today. They will be compacting and bringing in a little bit more crushed gravel and building up the subgrade for that for all of the asphalt areas yet this week and the first part of next week, and they're looking at paving around the middle of next week. So a week from now, it should be a pretty well paved. All the pavement should be in within about a week or so. And then the next photograph. So this is the cement masonry unit veneer. This one is on the west end of the building. It's similar to the one on the east end. It's so there are two places on the building itself where you see that that veneer finish. And the next photograph, so this is part of the EOC. You can see the windows have been framed in. They do not have the glass yet. This is actually to the right is the EOC, to the left is the training room. You can see a large steel beam going across that opening, and it's got some bracing members for seismic. And that beam is where the accordion door will hang from, so that you have an accordion door that you can open up so you can add the training room space into the EOC if you need that additional space. The other thing that you can see here is the continuous blocking below the windows. This will allow for any monitors or really anything that you want to attach to the walls below the window to be easily added in. So that's what that blocking is there for. And then the next picture is just a wonderful picture that Rachel had, I guess.
Okay.
I had a question for Norm. The sign that's going to be out front, has that been ordered or designed yet? Do we know what that's going to look like?
You know, I don't know. I will look into that. I'm sorry. I know that that the plan was to have the 911 logo on there, but that ball kind of got dropped in the transition. It was actually something we were talking about in early October. So let me add that to my to-do list.
I just, at a board level, I think it'd be good to approve that. And I thought maybe it might be good to put it out to staff to let them have some input on what that looks like as well. I think it's important we have a nice sign that we're happy with.
Yes, so we have the monument sign, which is made from the same cement masonry units as the back wall, and very similar to those detail walls on the building itself. Is in place, and it does have an electrical box constructed into it. So there is lighting available. So it's all been done according to the plan, but the actual design of the sign has not been finalized. So get that done and get that to the board.
Well, thanks.
Yes, thanks for the reminder.
Okay.
Alan, Vic has a hand raised.
Okay. Oh, I see that now. Thank you. Rick? Vic, do you have a comment?
Maybe he's just high five.
Maybe he's just being friendly. I don't know. Victor, are you there?
Comments?
Hey, Alan, it's Scott. I just had a quick question.
Okay.
Are we putting this stuff out on social media so the public can see the construction progress and what's going on?
I'm not sure about social media. I know it's been on the website time or two. Some of the pictures and things, but that's not a bad idea. I don't know who manages our Cowlitz 911, like Facebook and whatever other social media sites there.
We don't currently have a Cowlitz 911 Facebook. I think the hope is perhaps our new IT guy could help with some of that, or I think there have been some other interested people, but at this point, all we have is our main webpage. We don't really have social media pages. But if the board would like us to do that, we can move forward with trying to get this out to social media such as Facebook.
It's always a good idea to have multiple means of communication with our public. So I would certainly support, a monitored social media presence. Sometimes those things can get away from you too, so you need to be careful with them.
Hey, Alan, Vic's mic is not working, but he said, was there a traffic study done about trips on the Lowe's entrance?
I believe there was, but Norm's probably better informed than I am on that.
I think there was a very abbreviated traffic study, an analysis done basically of the employee traffic and the expected visitor traffic, and it wasn't deemed as being very impactful at all, given that there was already an existing traffic light that was being shared with Lowe's. I say that I believe that because I seem to recall that I wasn't actually working for 911 when that portion of it was done. We'd already progressed past that point and pretty much were, probably at the 60% design phase of the project when I started. So I know that's not a very definitive answer, but I also know that the city hasn't expressed any concern about the additional 911 traffic at the Lowe's light.
Jim, do you want to address that? I know you were involved in those early negotiations with Lowe's.
Yeah, I recall it the way Norman just described it, that Gibbs and Olson, who were our civil engineers, did do an abbreviated one. They were not required to do a full traffic study because of the low level impacts, as Norm described, is the way I remember it.
It seems like there may have been Lowe's had requested something in the agreement that we had with them too. I don't recall the details though, but I know we had to have an agreement with Lowe's to create that entryway through their wall.
Yeah, we had to go through a full easement process and design with them and approval, and that actually took quite some time. They're a large corporation.
He said he is just concerned about Lowe's becoming concerned with the potential amount of units that come in and out, especially during an event.
Yeah, I think all of that was adequately addressed, and that's why Lowe's gave us the easement. And that included both the 911 center as well as the impacts of the future fire station.
Right. And one of the things that was agreed upon was that we would be entering and exiting through the traffic light and the entry road only, not going through Lowe's, past the Lowe's building. And then the other thing was that is really what caused the requirement by Lowe's of that right turn lane. So they wanted that right turn lane to be able to accommodate a full fire engine, so that the fire engine wouldn't be, if it was being delayed at all, would not have to be sitting in the main entry driveway, but it would be pulled off onto the right hand side. And so that was sort of the design criteria for that right turn lane, which was given to us by Lowe's. So we did that to accommodate their request.
And well, hopefully that answers Vic's questions. I've got my chat thing open here. I don't see any more comment from Vic, so let us know, Vic, if you have further questions about that. I think for the vast majority of the time, the impact's going to be extremely low there. Any other questions about the facility for Norm?
Norm, do we have an updated substantially complete date?
We are looking at March 30th for substantial completion, according to the contractor's most recent schedule.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I guess, do we have any radio updates, Norm?
Yes, please.
So Castle Rock, they were going to start trenching up there Thursday and Friday, but I don't know with the torrential downpour that's supposed to happen, if they'll be able to do that or not. Baker's Corner, Norm's been working on that. We dropped off some paperwork yesterday with the city to move forward with the permitting.
It was actually Monday.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Okay, Monday. And then we had a meeting with the mayor and the police chief in reference to the Woodland site. We're trying to work some stuff out down there to get moving on that. And that is all I have right now.
Okay. You want to move on to the NOAA interlocal agreement?
Yeah, so I briefly kind of went over that earlier. We received the proposed ILA yesterday. And we just have some questions about some of what we had discussed versus what the proposal was. So we're working with NOAA right now to try to iron that out. And one of the biggest things was the installation costs, and they're substantially higher than what we had originally discussed. But the person we're working with obviously has bosses too. So we're working on those things. Hopefully, I'm hoping that you'll have another meeting this month and we can have a proposal, a solid proposal for the fiber connections and SIP connections and that.
Okay.
I have one question on that issue. Are they a sole source provider?
NOAA?
Yes.
No, but we have 2 other bids.
Okay. I mean, I don't know the issues that you're speaking to here as of this point, but it's a substantial difference in what was initially quoted with kind of what you were conveying the price was at this point. And from my perspective, if it's up at that upper hand and there's not really a good explanation, we may need to look elsewhere for that service.
Yeah, we do have 2 other quotes. So
Okay.
Are those quotes in that same ballpark, Deanna, or?
one of them's relatively close. The actual installation fees are less, but the annual ongoing fees are a little higher. And then we have another that is not even close to these 2. So.
Not even close as much higher, I take that then. So,
right.
yeah. Okay. Any other questions for Deanna? Okay, let's move on to old business. Then we have image trend costs.
You skipped the updated timeline on Spillman, but you guys have the document. It was sent out in the packet, and we just, our go live date, we moved it out to accommodate the construction schedule.
Okay. But everything's moving smoothly on that.
Yeah, and all the agencies were advised. We have a fire rep and a law enforcement rep that are doing their scheduling for their agencies for all the Spillman training based on that new schedule. And that's going along good. We met yesterday. Everything's moving as we would like it to, I guess. So.
Okay. Good. Okay, now back to the image trend costs.
Okay, so District 2, Jason Sanders arranged for a meeting with several of the fire folks and myself. And we had a meeting with Image Trend based on their proposed price quotes for the connection from the Image Trend side to connect to Spillman. So with the Spillman project, part of the contract included the Spillman interface to whatever the fire agencies were going to use, and Image Trend and ERS were the two interfaces. So that piece on the Spillman side was already paid for. But now, initially, we thought there was no fee with Image Trend until maybe about a month and a half ago. And then they quoted like $3,500 a connection. So we met with them, had some discussion, tried to explain maybe a clearer picture for them. They have resubmitted a quote. There's 4 fire agencies that will connect their records management or Image Trend to the Spillman. And their new fee is $1,750 per connection, so about $7,000. So they cut the cost in about half. And I'm just asking for direction from the board on financially, how do we address this? I know that we paid for the ERS connections for both of the agencies, and those were $500 per connection.
Okay, and I see Vicky has a question about what the ERS cost is.
And they were $500 per connection. The ERS.
Okay.
I'll throw something out there. We were told, just a little bit of background, when we purchased Image Trend, we were also told, and I'm sure Eric made this clear, Deanna, that we were going to be switching to Spillman, and our salesperson assured us that that would be part of our package. Apparently that's not the case anymore.
Not according to their quotes.
But I guess just to get the ball rolling here, I'll make a suggestion that this one-time cost for all these agencies be built into the overall cost of going to the Spillman system. By the 911 budget.
Okay. And was Eric the person that worked the most with Image Trend on when we first went that way?
Yes, for our agency.
Okay.
I can't speak for the others.
I'm just wondering if we have the same information from all the agencies, if they all got that information, the same information, if we somehow can't force that issue a little more.
And Eric and I talked that is possible. I said, how about if I wait till this meeting here, and then we could, and Deanna's probably got a better flavor for, how that meeting went with them, about whether there's additional negotiating room for us based on our understanding that this was going to be included.
I kind of have a thought of, I know that Castle Rock, they just went to Image Trend. They're paying for a connection to Intergraph because they didn't want to wait, to start using it. And now there's going to be, an additional charge after they use it with the old CAD, for like 6 months. And they're going to charge them again for another connection. I talked to Tom Stoddard a little bit about it because we've been working with the engineer for Image Trend, and he was shocked, at the fee that they're charging, and said, there's very little work for them to do. They have to, basically put together an XML path, and the work on the Spillman side's already done, and we're just pushing info to them. So, I mean, I don't mind, maybe working with Tom and some of the fire folks and, going back to them again and just saying, this is an exorbitant amount for, what we think the work is. And maybe we don't understand that maybe there's, so much work that has to be done with this and we're not understanding, but it just seems, pretty high. So
maybe I could offer a suggestion, if he'd be willing, and, obviously there's a fee associated, but maybe Frank could write them a nice letter explaining, what was implied at the time that we acquired Image Trend. And I'm speaking now certainly for the city of Longview in that agreement, and see if maybe we can't sway them to have this invoice go away.
I think that might be a good idea. And as Scott, do you have any recollection of who on the Cowlitz 2 side worked on that project?
I was just fiercely texting some of the staff to try to figure that out. We went to Image Trend in the beginning of 21.
Oh, wow.
I'll have an answer for you and send it out here hopefully very soon.
Okay. So if we have the weight of, at least 2, but maybe 3 of the 4 fire entities that went that direction, and if we all have the same recollection, I think that's got to carry some weight.
The only weight that I'm a little bit uncertain on is when we looked up our contract, it was not real specific in writing, unfortunately.
Okay.
And I'm kind of thinking that that's going to be the same across the board for all of the fire agencies. Probably told during the meetings that it would be covered, but probably not captured in the contracts.
and I know on the quote, I mean, there's literally no scope of work whatsoever. It just basically says the CAD vendor, Spillman, CAD switch vendor. And it doesn't even tell you what it is that they have to do.
Okay. Well, I would suggest for all the fire agencies are using Image Trend, if you can look back through your notes and contracts and then get that information to Deanna, and then we can ask Frank to write the appropriate letter if it looks like we have some leverage. Does that sound like a plan, Frank?
Yes, I can talk to Deanna and talk to Chief, and yeah, I sending a letter sounds like a good idea because at least we'll get a response.
Yeah. Okay, any other discussion about Image Trend costs? Okay. We have an executive session is next on the agenda. I'm just going to swap 11 and 12 around to the board decision on whether to hold the December 22nd meeting. Let's get that out of the way, and then we can move to executive session. So what's the feeling of the board? Are people going to be around? I know we have one piece of business that may be on the agenda. I know that's a busy week for folks too. So what's the board's pleasure on the 22nd of December meeting?
Well, if there isn't anything time sensitive, I'd suggest we abandon the meeting and wait until January. But Otherwise, I think you're correct, Alan. I think we might be scrambling to get a quorum together, but
I know a lot of people are
it's at the
taking.
pleasure of the board.
I'll be in band.
That's an abandonment. Okay. Oh, Deanna, can we, knowing that piece, can we push that off to the January meeting?
We can, yes.
Okay. Okay. Sounds like we can go ahead and cancel the December 22nd meeting then. And I got a note from Vic. Appreciate your time and interactions over the years, and Bill Lamons will become small fire representative beginning in January. With that, Vic, wish you a good retirement. Hopefully we'll see you around after that, but I don't know what your plans are, but hopefully they're good ones. Okay.
Hey, Scott, can I have one go back?
Sure.
I just got off the phone with our folks. When we were negotiating with Image Trend, Spillman wasn't even a thought at the time. So that was not part of the conversation when we did the negotiations with them. Because we have been on Image Trend for a while.
Okay. Okay, thanks for that information. Okay, with that, let's move to executive session. I think I saw Beth on the list here, so she will be included. And so Rachel, if you can move us into the appropriate spot on Facebook on the Zoom for the executive session.
I can. I just need the reason why you're going to an executive session, how long, and the time.
Yeah, if I may, the reason for it is discussion with legal counsel about legal risks of current or proposed action. RCW 42.30.110, parens 1, parens I. And Alan, I would say 30 minutes initially, or do you think that's too short?
Well, hopefully it's not too short. We'll try to keep it at 30 minutes.
Okay, so we'll talk about, so this will go from 10:55 to 11:25.
Right, and staff wise will include Norm.
Okay.
Okay.
You should see an invitation for a room. Hi, I don't know what this means. Brenda Norton said VOI FYI. Did they end executive session or did you just get kicked out?
Okay, has everybody had a chance to get back into this group? If not, then our executive session has concluded. I'd just like to thank Beth for her input and spending some time with us there.
Oh, you're very welcome. Frank, I'll follow up with you as we move forward.
Sounds good.
Okay. Is there any other business that needs to come before the board? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned. Thanks,
Have a
people.
good holiday.
Yeah, have a Merry Christmas, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon, I'm sure.